What's up, guys? This is Sensei. Today's video, we're going to be doing another episode of tier review, and for this episode, we're going to be reviewing the tier list on brawlcapped.com. Brawlcapped.com is another Brawl Stars stat site, and they for every game mode they have their own tier list for that. And so I'm going to check out the tier list for Solo Showdown and see how good it is. Okay, so go to the site, you click on game modes right here, and then we're going to click on Solo Showdown. And boom, there we go. We have the Solo Showdown tier list version 21. Alright, so taking a look into the S tier, right, which they have for excellent brawlers. We have B, Carl, and Max. And yeah, I agree with this 100%. B, as you know, B is always good on the long range maps because B has that, that range, right? But she also is pretty solid on the tank maps as well, because as you know, B is a very good tank counter, as you know, that is insane DPS, and the honeycomb to keep her alive and make her invincible. We all know how dominant B is. Moving on, next, Carl. Carl has really stood out as a #1 brawler this meta, just because of his range, and his HP just makes him his survivability super good, and especially on these tank maps, Carl's ability to shoot around walls, he does like 900 damage per pickaxe, is a lot of damage. Can shoot around walls, and it's the main reason why Carl's #1 and why Pam is so bad, is because it isn't not bad, but Pam dropped from the S tier is literally for that reason, because Carl can shoot around walls super well and Pam just can't. And then for the last brawl, we have Max, the speed demon herself. We all know how good Max is. Max is just good overall in the meta. The insane burst damage, the speed, the gadget that makes her invincible. Really is no surprise why Max is super good. So definitely agree with the S tier. Let's go ahead and take a look into the A tier. And in the A tier, we have bibi, and I definitely agree with this one, because bibi very, very good on the tank maps. I've already seen a lot of people push bibi to rank 35 on the tank maps. On my personal top 5 list, bibi was up there, so definitely no surprises there. And of course, even on the range maps, bibi is pretty solid, and on the robo maps, bibi is also very good. All right, then we have Colette. Now, I didn't include Colette in my top 5 just because she was a very new brawler, and I still think she's a fairly new brawler. However, from what I've seen, she is a pretty solid brawler in social, especially on the tank maps, because she's a very, very good tank counter. And in case you didn't know, all it takes for you to kill any brawler in the game is 2 hits and a super, and you can kill any brawler in the game. And yeah, so on paper that sounds broken, but I personally don't think Colette is that necessarily broken. But yeah. Next we have Jean. Jean always been pretty solid. A lot of people don't talk about Jean when they talk about Solo Showdown. I believe I saw Ash gave Jean like 3 stars on his thing for he was rating the brawlers for each game mode, right? And then I think he put Jean. Jean is actually really good in Solo Showdown, a lot better than I think people give Jean credit for. Yeah, I mean, it's just because Jean has all that health, but Jean also has that range as well, and so yeah, I mean, and plus that gadget is very good as well. Jean, really solid pick. And then next we have Jacky. Jacky in my top 5 list, you already know. On the tank maps, especially Rockwell Brawl, where she is the best tank there, excluding Carl. I mean, Carl technically is a tank, but I wouldn't really put him in the same class since he has the range. But the best tank on Rockwell Brawl, and even on the non-tank maps, just because of her speed and her ability to rush brawlers. It also makes her pretty solid on the open maps as well, at least better than other tanks. And finally, we have Pam. So as you can see, Pam is still doing pretty good in Solo Showdown. She's not S tier anymore, but on those open maps, on Feast or Famine with the Meteor modifier, on Double Trouble, on these kind of maps, Pam is still going to be a pretty solid pick. So yeah, didn't fall off as much as 8-Bit did. And finally, we're going to be looking at the B tier here. And in the B tier, we have 8-bit. So there you go, guys. 8-bit is still decent in solo showdown. 8-bit is not trash. I definitely agree with this one. Yeah, because 8-bit is, 8-bit's still good. 8-bit is on those open maps. I personally played around with him a bit last season. And I was able to push him to 900 from 875 from the trophy reset. I was able to push 8-bit to 900 in solo showdown. So 8-bit still is, you definitely got to play him more conservative. You can't play him as aggressive, and that turret is very valuable with that second star power. So the playstyle is kind of different, but he's still very viable, and I definitely think I could have pushed him to 1K. Next we have Bull, and I also agree with this one. Bull, along with many other tanks, just have seen a resurgence due to the first of all, the balance changes. I'm pretty sure almost every tank got a buff except for maybe like a few. But yeah, especially Bull got his health buff. But mainly it's due to the maps, the maps being added back, the Skull Creeks, Stormy Plain, Rockwall Brawl. It's mainly due to these maps being added back into the game that really is giving these tanks a resurgence. Crow has always been solid in solo showdown. He's never been at the top, but he's always been a really solid pick. I've pushed Crow, right? So you can check out that video. Darryl, I also agree with this one. With the tank maps, Darryl is doing good, doing really good, as I said before. And even on the non-tank maps, Darryl can be somewhat decent just because of that role, which makes him pretty solid. Next, we have El Primo. And El Primo, if you checked out my top 10, brawlers for the tank map, I believe I had El Primo number 2. I believe I have El Primo listed at number 2 for tank maps. So, like I said, the Rockwall Brawl, Stormy Plains. El Primo is just super good on those tank maps just because his he pretty much counters every tank. Once he gets his super, he can kill anyone he wants. Is really good counter to other tanks. Sitting at like 8,000 HP. Yeah, El Primo is really good. Rosa. Now, what makes Rosa really good is Rosa, she has her star power that can heal her for 200 health per second, her ability to create grass, and once you get that super, especially if there's teaming, you can just get that grass, you can pop that super, go into the poison, and similar to bibi, you're only going to take 100 damage, except, that's for the length of the super, but you'll constantly be healing in that grass, that healing is permanent. Definitely plan to push Rosa. If you didn't know, I tried to push Rosa the previous meta. We got her to like 970-ish, and then the surges and gales, man, I just kept getting fat 8s because I can't run from a surge. And the maps last meta were just not good for tanks at all. And so I was literally at a surge's mercy. I would try to team with them, but more often than not, they would backstab. And what am I supposed to do against that? So there really wasn't anything I can do. So we got close, but definitely will be tackling that again in this meta. Unfortunately, I'm only going to be able to push on the weekends. However, I do think Rosa is pretty solid on Rockwall Brawl, so we'll see how that works. Anyway, next we got Shelly. And I think you could maybe even make the case to put Shelly in the A tier. That's a maybe, because Shelly isn't necessarily the best outside of the tank maps, but on the tank map she's really good. Seen a lot of people push Shelly rank 35. We even saw a new world record. Shelly, I believe it was like 1500 by Spicy Toast from Solo Showdown. So Shelly definitely been doing really good. She got a health buff, but of course that helps, but the main reason why is the map pool change. Next we have Spike with Spike's buff and these tank maps. Spike is a great tank counter, as you just saw from my recent video, me pushing Spike to 900. Planning to get that 1K soon, but Spike definitely really good. Whether you use Curveball on more open maps or Fertilize on the tankier maps, either way. And then finally, the last brawler in the B tier is going to be Tara, and yeah, Tara used, you know, the funny thing is Tara actually didn't used to be that good, but they kept buffing her. They buffed Tara's damage, they buffed her HP, and now they buffed her super rate, and now Tara is really good. Well, not really good, but pretty decent in solo showdown. And if you can get that super, if you can get that super by farming it off tanks or by teaming, Tara is a legit deadly threat and a deadly force to be reckoned with. And yeah, I mean, you know, definitely plan to push Tara in the future as well. But anyways, guys, yeah, that's the whole tier list. If I were to give this a rating, I'd have to give this a 10 out of 10. Honestly, I'd give this a 10 out of 10. This is probably the best tier list that I've seen ever. So, you know, big shout out to Brawl Cap. They definitely got it right. I mean, if I were to make a tier list, it'd probably look, I mean, like it pretty much matches my top 5. We have the top 3 right here, and then the bot number 4 and 5 are both in the A tier, and then the top 3 are in the S tier. I mean, it's a perfect tier list. What can I say? I mean, I don't really see anything I disagree with. I mean, you know, people might be wondering where's Leon, but I mean, I guess you could maybe argue Leon could be in the B tier, but I mean, all these brawlers are on here are pretty solid in solo showdown. Like, none of these guys are bad in any way. So I mean, yeah, I mean, well, I don't know what else to say. So yeah, that's gonna do it for this video, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and peace.